This week, we were tasked with taking the look and feel elements that we had decided on last week and turning them into a vision board that creates a cohesive brand identity and voice and tone that we can carry on into the design of future projects. I chose craft paper as a base background. One, for the sustainability that companies like Amazon and Lush have kind of given it, of like, this is more sustainable product than plastics, and to kind of give a sense of the type of packaging that you're going to see the products from this company in. I added a silhouette of the pines to this to match the theme of Midwest Forest and kind of like tie the two. The next thing that I wanted to tackle was the title, to kind of start that base hierarchy of what the fonts are going to look like and which fonts are the header, which one is the subheader. I chose Cheap Pine as our main header. It is a very legible font, has a nice crisp look to it, but still a little bit rough around the edges, giving it to that handmade, hand-drawn look. I paired this with Handsome Pro, which is a more cursive font, which pairs really well when you put it next to the blocky font that is Cheap Pine. And I did this because across numerous different like vintage designs that you see, they kind of pair this nice blocky font with a cursive font as like the subheading or the subtext or the tagline and so forth. So I did the same thing here with Cheap Pine and Handsome Pro. I also added in a photo, kind of like the hero photo of people playing with a kendama, which is a traditionally wood toy. It's a ball on a string with a handle that you would use to catch the ball on the handle in various ways. It's quite a challenge to do and use, and almost like a puzzle, but it stimulates the mind in a way that you have to like think about like how you're gonna catch this ball in these, various different forms that you're allowed to catch it, as well as it stimulates the body because you have to use your muscles and really like focus on like how the movements are gonna work, tossing the ball in the air, catching it. The next thing I wanted to tackle was the color palette. And for the color palette, my design inspiration came directly from a photo I took here in a forest of the Midwest. I picked a photo that had a nice mix of like browns, greens, blues to give me like a nice, good range to play with, and found that it came out fairly easily. Next, I wanted to separate the top and bottom halves of this vision board, with the top being the hero shot, the color palette, and the title, kind of like drawing your eyes into like, the basic identity of this brand, and the bottom being the more aesthetic choices of like the inspirational part of this vision board, the things that you're going to see out. And I chose a nice bold line design, which is an arrow, kind of like nodding to the Midwest, native culture, just, again, playing to the theme we have here, Midwestern forests. And that allowed me to create an inspiration board on the bottom with multiple pictures of people playing with different products that are made out of wood, all in natural settings. A lot of brands like Ruka and these other brands have these leather patches that are like natural, handmade, hand sewn patches with like logos or different things on them, and I recreated that in one of the shapes because that is what has kind of like inspired the shapes that I use for these photos. Then finally, the onlyness statement. I decided to put this off to the side of the inspiration board section and use our subheading font to give us our title, and then used Miriam is a serif's font, which sticks out visually against the cursive and the sans serif font that we have chosen for our heading and subheading. So there's a clear delineation hierarchy of like not only in its form, but in the letter shape as well. And then simply use one of our accent colors to pull it away from the background, being that craft paper, and give it a home altogether. All of these elements come together very nicely to form a cohesive style that matches both the theme of the product as well as the kinetic creativity, the stimulation that we're promising customers with this brand. From the colors being stimulating enough to catch the eye and match well with the natural outdoor scenes that we can take and add in with lifestyle photography, and the unique look that the font choices have made to differentiate it as a unique brand